this is the first of what I hope will be several more behind-the-scenes videos looking at what the new Jacobin Club does when we rehearse and when we write, and what we use, and how we prepare for concerts and things. All things that we've been asked many times now through the fan club and the email list and whatnot. And I'm really sorry that it's taken us this long to get around to it, but pandemic and all, and yeah, we're all we don't all obviously live in one big happy band house, so we're all missing each other quite a bit right now. But I'm here tonight, to talk to you about my gear. So this is the new Jacobin Club guitar amp. I say that because this is the amplifier that ever since 2005 has been responsible for the dominant sound of the rhythm tracks that you hear on all of our albums. It is a crank 212 combo. It's massive though, even though this is not a component guitar amp, like it's not a separate head and cabinet. It is very big. It is deeper than your typical 412 cabinet, even though it's only 212s. And it's 100 watts, so it's a lot of power. It is all tube. It has, if you're the type of person that cares about that, it's got 4 6L6s and 4 12AX7s. And I believe the serial number of this guy is like 17. I'm not making that up. This was one of the first ones that Crank made. It was handmade in the United States back in 2005, right before Crank exploded in popularity briefly when they put out the Crankenstein, which was the Dimebag Darrell signature amp. We call him Mr. Teeth, and over the years I have grown very particular about the settings on this amp. The settings on it right now are very close to exactly what was used on both the Wicked City album and This Treason. I can't remember if this is exactly the settings we used on Soldiers of the Mark, but I'll just give you a quick rundown because I like this stuff. I think it's kind of interesting. First of all, gain, which is how much kind of distortion and breakup the amp gets. Now, this is a high gain amp. This thing puts out a lot of noise. However, I really only keep the gain at about 4. I don't think I ever turn up much past 5 or 6, but it pretty much stays at 4 all the time. That is the sound that I like, because with that amount of gain, I can still hear all the chord members. I can hear all the notes in a chord when I play it with distortion. I don't like hearing that static, chunky zing that's devoid of whether you can play a major or minor chord. Then I have 2 master volumes. These are for 2 different channels. I can switch it here, but these channels don't change the sound of the amp whatsoever. They're just volumes. So I use channel 1 as the louder one when I have to do a lead, and channel 2 is the rhythm one, but otherwise they sound exactly the same. Then we have our very simple treble, mid, and bass. And if you see here, I don't know if we can zoom in on this, I do not use the treble to get my higher frequencies. I use the mid. And this is something that I learned from years of working at a guitar shop with guys that were older than me, smarter than me, and showed me exactly how to get the sound I wanted. And if I have one piece of advice to anyone that wants to get the guitar sound they want, or a cool sound, it's to ask people that know more than you. And ask them to show you. Don't always just go on the internet looking for videos and stuff. Find a person find someone. Go to your local guitar shop, and well, when they open again, I guess. But find a fellow that looks like they've been around the block and they know how to set up an amp, and see what they say. There's no substitute for experience. None. So yeah. So I use the mid to get my higher frequencies, and I turn the bass up quite a bit. So my bass is at 3/4, my mid is over half, and my treble is below half. I do not deviate from this tone setup, no matter how much distortion I'm using or what kind of lead sound I'm looking for, whatever. I don't deviate from that very much. The way I have it right now is the way I'd recorded the two of the last 3 albums. Clean channel is very basic and on this amp almost useless. It's only there because has to have a clean channel. I do use it live. In the studio, I have used it in the studio. It's very dry. There's no reverb on this amp. I'm always playing with the clean channel, so I'm not even going to tell you how I set that because it has a lot to do with the guitar. If you're wondering what sort of pedals I use, the answer is I kind of don't. This is just my switch box, so I can change the channel from the clean to the distortion, and from the master just goes from loud to louder, basically. I do use this pedal. This is the Harmonist. I only use this because in 2013 we started playing regularly without a lead guitarist, and the thing that was really missing from the music the most was the guitar harmonies. When used properly and hooked up properly, this is amazing. And I actually use it because it's a Boss pedal. So there was actually a product specialist from Roland that I met, and he showed me how to use this properly. And he showed me a few tricks on it too, that things that weren't in the manual that you can do with it. First, most important thing, if anyone has used this and says it sucks, I'm going to tell you right now, it has to plug into your effects loop. My guitar is not going through this. My guitar is going into the amp, and then the amp sends the signal to this, and then it goes back. That's because if you're going to harmonize a sound on an electric guitar, you want this pedal to take the sound of the electric guitar going through the amp, duplicate it, and shift the pitch to the harmony. You don't want to create the harmony on the guitar, then send it to the amp, because the amp is just going to chew that sound up and it's going to sound like garbage. I don't use it in the studio, obviously. In the studio, we record all the guitar parts separately, but live, I do use this guy here and there. In fact, over the years, I found that switching in between songs, there's no easy way to change the keys in between songs, so I had to pick this up. This is a GT1. I only use this to duplicate this. So I can program a harmonist setting into this and multiplied by however many songs I need it, and change it for each song, the key and the interval, as well as name each song on there. I don't have it hooked up right now, so I can't show you the stupid names I give the songs. There's a few guitars that I use regularly, but I thought I would show this one in this video because this is the rhythm guitar. This is the rhythm guitar that has been on, I think, every new Jacobin Club album since at least since 2006, if not a little earlier. I don't know, but and no matter what other guitar I throw into the mix, it always ends up being this one that is my primary rhythm track. And I've had this guitar since, I think, 2003. It's been modded quite a bit. This is not an expensive guitar. It's just a bolt-on BC Rich Platinum Series. I think it's made in Korea. But what's special about it is I've had it retrofitted with these Rockfield Black Mafia pickups, which I actually had to get from the BC Rich distributor. They were very kind enough to set me up with these years ago when we were a very, very active BC Rich band. Both myself and the Fury, the lead guitarist on Wicked City and This Treason, also played BC Rich's live, and they did some nice things for us. So these Rockfield Black Mafias are the stock pickups in the in the more professional models. I have some more professional models, but I still use this one the most. This knob here, I can pull it, and it will cut half of each of these humbuckers in half. A humbucker is 2 rows of magnets picking up the sound of the strings. That's what you want when you've got a lot of distortion and gain. it just sounds a little smoother and thicker and not as screechy. The single coil sound, that traditional classic rock Stratocaster kind of twang, I can get that with this guitar when I pull this, okay? And that's particularly important for the clean sound. Like I said earlier, like the clean channel on this amp is nothing really to write home about. So here's the distortion channel. Ooh, is that too loud? And here's my clean channel. With the coil tap, I'll pull the coil tap out. Right? Okay, and I wonder if my harmonizer is going to work here. Let's try her out. My favorite effect, and this is the one that a fellow from Boss showed me. You hit a chord, and when I hold this down, I'd be doing it with my foot on stage, it will bend all my pitches up and down at the same time. And we use this here and there on some of our... I think on our last album we used it once, but live I use it quite a bit. It sounds something like this.